Seth, does the screen display everybody that's on?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see her either.
You're good to go.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Meeting of the Niskuna Police Reform and Reinvention Task Force. Ms. Syed is not here. Paul Zonderman here. Manuel Amato, not here. Paul Briggs.
He's here.
Here.
Okay, yeah, okay. Ismat Alam,
No.
Secretary Allison Marinucci. Jordan Koshan is here. Bill McPartlin is here. Denise Murphy McGraw is not. Jeff Relation is not here. Marina Pop Fairchild.
No.
Just yell out if you're on the computer. John Delarada. Dale Black Pennington.
Present.
Okay. Dale Black Pennington. Let me see. Oh, there you are. Yeah,
Who's that at the top?
you have a picture. I don't know if you can see me.
In the center?
Yeah.
I'm not for certain.
Okay. Jessica Brennan would be a new person if that's not clear. Jason Moskowitz, but he's not here yet. But Jamie Lynn isn't here, so that
Jamie actually is here.
Jimmy Puccioni.
Present, I'm here, thank you.
good. Good. We checked.
But Mr. Zonderman,
Yes.
I believe that the roll call is for members of the task force. And you named several people who are not members of the task force. So I think for the record, we have to be clear as to who is present and who is not present from the task force.
Yeah, we're having a little trouble with the list, Dale. I think Chairman Zonderman, we're trying to get him a better list of all the members on the committee. And some of the ones I think that are on his sheet now, you're exactly correct, are not on the committee. He's got some town board members that technically aren't part of the committee.
Right.
And our supervisor-elect, as you said, probably right now is supervisor-elect. So she's attending the meeting. It is an open public meeting. So thank you for clarifying that.
Also,
So
I note that Mariano,
Yes.
Marina Fairchild has joined.
Yes, she has.
I believe that from her notes, Allison Marinucci, who is our secretary, indicated that she believed this meeting was starting at 8:15. So she should be joining shortly.
Okay. I wasn't aware of the 8:15 start. Were you?
I was not either.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
this is Paul Briggs. I have a list of all the members. If you want me to go through the list of just the members.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I'll write them down.
Okay. So, and Paul, I had sent you an email with that list on November 2nd.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good list.
Okay, so I'll go through the roll then of just the members. Supervisor Syed,
Yeah.
Absent.
Councilman McPartlin,
Here.
Comptroller Alam, Chief Koshin,
Present.
Officer Relation, Paul Zonderman,
Here.
Marina Prop Fairchild,
Grandchild here.
Dale Black Pennington,
Present.
Manuel Amato, and Allison Marinucci,
Here.
and then
I
Paul
would-
Briggs is here.
Yes, I would like to just add, I actually sent an email out because the the invitation was starting at 8 o'clock to 8 to 9:30, and I sent an email out and I got a response, and I can tell you in a minute who responded saying it was 8:15 to 9:15.
Yeah, that's what I said. I
Okay.
sent out an email with 8:15 on it.
So we need to get on the same page as regarding start time. And my last name is Franchild, not Fairchild. Thank you.
Also, just so everyone's aware, as I stated at the first meeting, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are very difficult for me because I do conduct business at that time. So I will have to leave early today. Probably I will pop off around 8:45 because I do have a hearing that's starting at 9 a.m.
All right. I thought probably for the next couple of months, the last couple of weeks of the month would be sort of holidays and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that. And I didn't think it would be good. That's why I said, let's do it on the beginning of the month on Tuesday.
Not I'm available Mondays and Fridays, and I'm willing to work with everybody's schedule. I'm not trying to be
Okay.
difficult here. I'm just telling you the realities of my life.
Well, we want to see you, so maybe the next meeting I'll send out a notice. It'll be a Monday instead of a Tuesday.
I just want to make sure everybody's available. Whatever is good for everyone. I'm available all day, Mondays and Fridays, and I'm willing to work anytime in the afternoon on the other days or in the evening or whatever is available for everybody.
I would like to make a suggestion that perhaps we meet at 8, because then Dale could be with us for 45 minutes if it should be on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. She can't meet on Thursday, so I respectfully request that we don't have meetings on Thursday because we really need everybody's voice. It's really important that everybody's voice is counted. She's a judge. She hears hearings. She can't make it on Thursday. It's not a whim of hers or a preference. She cannot make it. So I'm advocating for her participation as a full member in this committee. So please, Thursday mornings they should be taken off the table because she can never make it, ever.
Okay. So could we just maybe try for Monday and Wednesdays, and we can do a doodle poll on those days, and just the interest of time, if she has to leave at 8:45, so we can kind of move forward. Does that work for everyone that's here?
Yes.
I would
Okay.
prefer if we try for Mondays and Tuesdays, if that's not a problem for
Okay.
people.
Well, okay. All right. Let's try for Mondays. How's that sound? Good? Great.
Yeah.
We'll do the best we can.
All right.
Monday is going to be the day?
Thanks, Allison.
Yeah. We'll try for
Okay.
Mondays.
So that's
I mean, it's
a
hard.
motion that's passed. Anybody against it?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, the motion is passed. We will meet on no Thursdays and meet on Monday.
Thank you.
Let's see, we went through the list. Marina, did you have something you wanted on the agenda today?
I actually forwarded that information to Allison.
Did I put it on the agenda?
Allison, all the stuff that we discussed about.
It's on the agenda, right? I sent out an agenda on Sunday. I sent out a draft.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. So I think everything's added on there then.
Who is the unknown up there?
Ma'am,
My name's-
go ahead.
My name's Ellen DeViro, and I'm a community member, and I was on the coalition that worked on the police reinvention committee last year, and I spoke with Supervisor Syed, and I was sent a link to this today. And I had just met with her and talked with her about, a few things. So she said to come, and I didn't know if you allowed people to speak from the public in the beginning of your meetings yet or not.
Would you spell your name for me, please?
Sure, it's DeViro. It's D as in David, A, V as in Victor, I-E-R-O. And my first name is Ellen, E-L-L-E-N. And I live at 1322 Hawthorne Road in Niskayuna.
And you're here as a guest today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're not going to have any demonstration, I thought.
Not today, Judge.
What?
No, not today.
Okay, he wanted to show me something afterwards. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Detective Kavaga said afterwards if we want to go upstairs and you just want to kind of observe what he put together as far as a presentation before we present it to the group.
Okay, fine. Well, do you recall any business we needed to?
I just have approval of the minutes, but do we want to make a motion we have John here and we have Ellen on Zoom. Do we want to do privilege of the floor toward the end of the meeting or the beginning so they can make comments?
No, go ahead now.
Okay.
Well, I think let's do the minutes first, right? Al?
Okay,
And
so
let's
we're going to do
minutes.
approval of the minutes, make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that motion.
All in favor of the motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, the minutes of the last meeting are accepted.
Allison, before we open for privileges of the floor, just another matter. I know Judge Zonderman's getting the list together of folks. Because everyone's using their personal email, I am not getting a lot of the emails because we have kind of a spam quarantine system that blocks things out. So there's been a lot of communication going on that I don't know that all of the members of the committee are getting.
Okay.
So I think we need to, I don't know that we need to address it right now, but I want to just put it on the record that there are things that I'm not receiving.
Okay.
We need to find a way that we're all communicating some way without any interruptions between all of the members via email.
How about, do you have a personal email?
I do, Judge. I would prefer not to use it. Even your personal email, I'm literally having to sort through things that are getting stuck in the spam to accept your emails. And there's a lot of things I'm missing.
Usually, I think,
Put me in your address.
once you whitelist it, I believe you'll get them, right? Because I'm doing the same thing. I'm going through.
In theory,
We get a spam thing from the town IT director, and then you have to go through and see, like I see Allison, I know her.
yeah,
I think Marina's somebody's is Matrix or something. And
right. I think that's Marina. Yeah.
I
No, there was-
recognize these emails. I don't know. We'll have to.
But there were some I wasn't even on. I wasn't even in there. I wasn't even included in a lot of dialogue going on. So like I said, I want to put it on the record that there's a lot of things we need to find a better way that we're all communicating as a group together if we're going to email back.
Yeah, we got to get that master
Actually,
list.
may I jump in? I raised my hand, but I
Yes,
guess it's hard with this hybrid system. I actually have not been getting all of the emails, I believe, and I would like to use my Taskforce email address and have it recognized instead of using I too would not like to use my personal email. And I do have an email that I used when I was a member of the task force that I thought would have been used here, but for some reason, I haven't been getting emails. So likewise, I join that motion that we develop some sort of cohesive communication chain.
Okay. I see that, Dale, it looks like Taskforce BP at Gmail. That's what I sent it out to for the draft minutes. Okay.
You were fine,
Okay.
but I had trouble with Mr. Zonderman's emails. They went to my personal email address, and some of them went into spam for some reason. So I had to search it out to find them.
Okay, can everyone, let's see, Allison, if you're getting Allison's email, if everyone can send their preferred email address to her, And that will help us get a master list together. If everybody can send that email to her, then we can get a master list together. You're not having any trouble getting the emails, are you, Allison?
I'm not. I can well, I can look and research some like alternate, maybe secure way for us to chat. I can send suggestions via email offline after the meeting. But I think in the interim, if you want to send me your preferred email, and then I can compile a list and I'll send it along.
Fantastic.
Sound good?
Thank you,
Okay.
Because when unless you're sending out the notices, I assume I send out the notices.
Yeah, I just sent out the draft minutes
Yeah,
and the
no, that's
agenda.
good.
Yeah,
That's good. What is the email address you want?
the one for me,
Yeah,
it's Allison with 2 L's, and it's Wisnowski. It's dot Wisnowski, so it's WIS as in Sam, NOS as in Sam, KI at Gmail.
Once you have that list, can you send that to me so I can make sure that the links are going to the right places?
Sure.
Also, on our spam filter, it changed from whitelist to allow list.
Okay.
So if you don't click allow list, it doesn't deliver them. Well, it'll deliver them if you click deliver, but it won't learn from it in the future.
Right.
So
let me make one additional statement. If you put the name in your address book along with the email, then it won't be thrown out into trash. So you can mail these things directly to me, pzonderman@earthlink.net, and also mark down my cell phone number. It's all right to call me directly on my cell phone number if you want to. That's 518-428-0800. And basically, I always have the phone. That's a better way of doing it.
Okay.
You know, because we have had a little bit of.
Communication trouble.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get that worked out.
Let me. Does anybody have any further business?
Well, we got still stuff on the agenda. Or did you have other things you wanted to discuss before we get into other things on the agenda?
No, not necessarily.
Do we want to do privilege of the floor now?
Sure.
What would you prefer? I just want to ask Dale because she's time limited. Would you prefer that we do privilege of the floor the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting, just in interest of your time?
At the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if that's
We'll do
okay,
it
we'll.
at the end. Yeah, it's fine with me.
I just wanted to make some general remarks as if I was on the floor. When we come into we don't have the controller here, but we can come in with good ideas, like everybody wants to have the video on them. I mean, the unions, you know, and the thing is going to be the cost, and that's what's the controller is going to have. So I just want you to think about some weird ways of making money. The magazine, that's put out, it's a great magazine. That money goes to the union fund.
So we're talking about body worn cameras and we're talking about ways to generate revenue to possibly use towards body worn cameras. Is that correct, Judge? Is that what you're saying? Yes. So the beacon that the PBA puts out, yes, they pay for that. They distribute that to folks that are in the community that make donations to them. Yes.
There was, I think there was a moneymaker a few years back where you sold those shirts, zipper shirts with the badge embroidered on it, you know, for anybody. There are little things like that. And I think we also have this, this large group that uses some of its money. What do they call it? Some kind of a fund. Every few years we get solicited for it. Maybe it's a Niskayuna fund or something, to ask them for it. This is one more thing I'll just mention. tongue in cheek as a quick way of making money. I just got from Albany Police Department, I just got a ticket in the mail for going through a red light.
Hang on, yeah.
I didn't think I went through any red lights, so I looked at the piece of paper and they send with pictures. And I saw, oh, that's my license number. And I said, gee, and I looked at my calendar and sure enough, I was on my way down, I think to the VA hospital or something, going down that road. So I figured, well, maybe it is. Then, you know, you look at the pictures and you can, my car's over on the right. Well, it's no point arguing because what it says is you don't have to appear, you don't have to do anything, straight $50, no ticket, no points, boom. And that's it. Now, if somebody really wants to appeal it, they can get a hearing before the judge. So, you know, to me, I said, that's just not worth the time. No record, no points. I sent them a check for $50. Now, if we had some similar light thing on Route 7,
Yep.
where near the hospital there, either coming up the hill or going down the hill, it occurs to me that, you know, we'd make a bundle with little to do. Now, I don't think we want to build one of those platforms across the road like fancy, but could be on one of the lanes and something. And it, I show it to you, takes a picture and,
Yeah, that was a suggestion, Judge, in the Public Safety Committee as well from some residents. I'm not to get too in depth into it, but I know that was a great undertaking from the city of Albany to be able to do that with a lot of challenges to it. It's not something that I think we could expeditiously accomplish if the town of Niskuna was looking to do that, but it's certainly something we have discussed with regards to those things.
well, that's all. The idea is I think we should all be thinking of ways to somehow bring in some money to a police equipment fund. I mean, if we all agree on cameras and the medium range camera that they're thinking about is $100,000, you know, the comptroller can say, well, there's no way I can put that.
I would like to refocus this meeting. This is, with all due respect, we have a lot to cover. According to the resolution that was passed, we're under a timeline. We have not really accomplished a whole lot. I would like to follow our agenda with all due respect and try to actually tackle some of the issues that we need to tackle.
Yeah, that is a good rule. I was under the impression that I had set up a demonstration of the cameras today, and I confirmed it in emails
Oh, I see.
with the IT person, and you know, for some reason it didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a miscommunication because I think I had specifically asked if it was supposed to be for the meeting or something else, and I was told that it was supposed to be kind of offline because you had asked personally to see that presentation prior to it being presented to the meeting. But if that was a miscommunication, I apologize.
Yeah, we only have an hour. We've lost a lot of time. We are behind in complying with the timeline that we're supposed to be complying with. I'm not even sure if people know what we're supposed to be complying with. Allison, I'm wondering if you could address what I'm saying, because it's on the agenda that you sent out.
Sure. Judge, did you have any further comment about the cameras? Because
Yes, just one thing. I am very aware of what we're supposed to be doing. I thought one of the things would be cameras, and that we're pretty close to getting it. And the only thing that might stand in its way or delay it is a question if the comptroller was there and talked about money. And I just thought maybe in contemplation of that, we'd start thinking about.
okay.
So I don't think we're exactly straying, but thank you for your comment.
Yeah. So I think what's next on the agenda is the discussion and the structure or the overall scope of the police reform task force, and looking at specifically at the town resolution that was passed 2021-76. Just I think amongst some members, just some confusion of what exactly we're supposed to be doing. And looking at this resolution, it looks like we are responsible for implementing all the recommendations which were approved through this resolution that were submitted by the CNA audit report and the collaborative police committee. And I'm saying the name wrong. I'm sure the police collaborative report that was and the supported appendices. So we're just trying, I think that's what the main focus of the meeting is. We're hoping, or what was put on the agenda is just to figure out how we're going to do that. What is the scope? What's the structure?
Yeah, the reason that I apologize if I sounded disrespectful, I didn't mean to. It's just that we've not really talked about why we're here. That really hasn't been gone into. And it's confusing a little bit because there are documents that have similar names, but they don't have similar content. So the resolution talks about a document, and within the document is the CNA report and also the recommendations from the collaborative in response to Executive Order 203. It's a 300-page document, the whole thing. And I really think that it is critical that everybody who's on this task force actually reads all 300 pages and becomes familiar with the findings, with the CNA findings and the findings of the collaborative. CNA was an external agency that was hired by the town to do an independent audit. The collaborative was from the community. It was internal. So thus far, what we've talked about with some of the CNA findings, we've not talked at all about the collaborative. So I think it's really important that we discuss breaking into committee, that people take bite-sized pieces of all of these findings. They're very numerous, that we work together collaboratively in committee, and at these meetings come back and report on what we've done. And that type of intensive, involved work hasn't happened yet. I don't think it's clear that people understand that this is what's expected.
Do you have a suggestion?
I actually agree. The CNA report, I believe, contains about 130 or 160 recommendations. Thank you, Marina. I'm sorry, I apologize. And thank you, Allison, and also Judge Zonderman. I have read the 300 pages of the of both reports, and actually also the resolution that I currently have up. And the resolution, which appoints all of us to this task force, directs us to look at all of these recommendations, prioritize these recommendations, and make a plan for implementation of the recommendations, of which body cameras are a portion. A discussion of chokeholds, which I believe was done at a prior meeting, is also, recommendations were made regarding such. And I think we also have to take in light the law of New York State, which may have changed and affects what we can do with certain things. So we do need to break up into, or have committees or groups of people that are going to do the nitty-gritty work and make some recommendations. Maybe we can assign one group to look at half of the collaborative recommendations or all of the collaborative recommendations, another subgroup to look at a third of the CNA recommendations, and another subgroup to look at the other half of the CNA recommendations. But somehow we have to have a structure that's going to allow us to do the nitty-gritty work, because we won't be able to do that in 1 hour a month.
Well, perhaps it's a big thing to organize. As you say, the first thing we have to do is make sure everybody has the documents, and then someone can suggest to me to put on the agenda a particular item, and then we can do it. Yes, we have to move it along, and we have to note whether it is affecting the budget And I was thinking that was one of the things in there, the cameras, and it does affect the budget. And we're coming up to a new year, so I kind of wanted to get in on that. But the order, I don't know how you would take the order. We could take the easiest ones, but if anybody wants to suggest an agenda item, please send me an email and we'll all try to study the particular article they're talking about, and then we can do that.
There, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting Judge Zonderman. I think that we're tasked with coming up with a plan for implementation of near-term items, and we're supposed to have done that within 3 months, and we've already missed that deadline. So I think that the CNA, if my memory is correct, the CNA has 40 some odd points, and it's the collaborative that has the more than that. I think that the low hanging fruit should be sorted out, and we should move on that as quickly as possible. If body worn cameras are part of that, then we certainly should discuss that.
I just had 2 questions. Could we possibly break up into break it up into like it has to happen now, then those items, medium, and then long term? And my other question was, when is I don't know this, so forgive me, the fiscal year, when does the fiscal year start for the town? Is it January 1 or is it like October 1?
January.
January 1. Okay. Thank you.
Let's all make sure we're talking about the same language. I mean, I have in my notebook here a number of these things which I've read and made comments to myself on. You're talking about a CNA document?
The CNA report, that was in an outside agency that the town board hired to do an analysis of our department and our policies, procedures, and then they delved into some historical data while they were doing that report. So we do have that. It was very extensive, but I think you're all on the right track, Marina and Dale, that trying to break this up in smaller portions is actually an excellent idea. We sort of, I think we're getting a little bit stuck on the big ones like the body cameras, right? So we're talking about that a lot, right? And so then it's our job to prioritize, right? And we put that down. Okay, this is a priority. And then as the judge said, that does have a substantial financial impact. So those will also be factored in. There's a community officer recommendation for that in there. There's recommendations for officer wellness. I mean, there's a lot, as you said, there's over 40. These are just some that are coming to my mind very quickly. And then our job, getting that list together, prioritizing those, maybe as you said, breaking them into smaller chunks, committees, so that we can sort of get a handle on those things and where we're going to put them.
Would you, I would not mind going through the documents and identifying all the short-term goals, the medium-term goals, and the long-term, since there is like a lot of overlap between the CNA and the collaborative and their appendices. Maybe that would make it a little bit more digestible for everyone, and then we could decide how we're going to move forward. What does everyone think about that?
I would be willing to work with you on that if you would like to work with another person.
Sure. Sounds great.
That's a great idea. And I would agree with the assessment that I have read these reports. It's been a while. It was last year. Refamiliarize ourselves with this material so that we're ready for the discussions and being able to put our input on those discussions.
And I would be very glad to send the secretary to send Allison the link so that it could be distributed to everybody, so we all have the same document.
Excellent idea. I have documents, and I'm sure, I don't know if I have that one. I think.
And I just want to emphasize that the CNA report was external. The collaborative report was internal. And that is critical. It is critical that we look at the collaborative recommendations, not just the CNA.
Do you want me to make a motion to have Marina and I take the documents and create something that which identifies the short term, the medium term, and the long term goals? Because those are identified in the document itself, at least the CNA it is.
They are, but as I said in the last meeting, some of my concerns are, and maybe that's something that I need to be a part of as well, even though CNA is identifying them as possibly short-term, there may be things that we can't implement short-term
Sure.
based upon just workflow and things like that, such as policy change.
Mhm.
I described in the last meeting, we're going through a huge overhaul in policy, and it's not, what is short-term? Is short-term today? Is short-term 3 months? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's a good starting point though. At least we can look at that and say, okay, short term, what does this mean? 3 months, 6 months
Right.
is what I would imagine. And then we can we can document those and say, this is the plan for that.
Yeah, I would love to work with you and Marina on that, to just be in that conversation. So in case something,
Sure.
I have a
I too
suggestion.
would-
Oh, I'm sorry.
I too would like to join in that discussion. So I'm willing to work with that subgroup.
Okay.
The other thing is, I'd like to suggest, and my time is fleeting. I would like to suggest a structure committee. If anyone would like to join me and do a structure committee so that we can sort of sit down and prioritize how we're going to attack this, break down the CNA recommendations or the number of recommendations, and recommend subcommittees that can work on this so that we can have productive meetings with real discussion. So I would be willing to work with anyone on a structure committee. So at the next meeting, we're moving forward.
Yeah,
You know,
I think we're sort of on the same page. Like all I was suggesting to doing is just compiling that so we can read them. You know what I mean? Like here's like the short term list, here's the medium term, and then we can go from there. At least so we have like a document that puts all this stuff together in a way that's digestible. Because it's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of overlap.
Right.
That's really all I was suggesting.
I have a suggestion that I think that supports what you're saying, Allison, and what you're saying, Dale. My suggestion is that Dale, Allison, and myself, that we get together and put together a draft of near-term, medium-term, and long-term, then set up an appointment with a police chief Cochan and share what we found and then further refine it, that refined document, which is made up of by the four of us, that be brought to the next meeting. And then at that point, we'll know what the three categories are. And then it would make sense to have a structure committee to tackle the three categories. Does that make sense to everybody?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't think
Sounds
anybody has
excellent.
any
And
problem with that.
So I'm making a motion that Dale, Allison, and Marina do a first cut of breaking things up into near, medium, and long range of topics, and that then we meet with Police Chief Cochan and we further refine it and bring that back to the next meeting.
I second that motion.
Thank you.
All those, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
The motion is passed.
Marina, do you want to go back to your first thing that you put on the agenda? It can be put in as a motion, or just that everyone do familiarize themselves with the collaborative and the CNA report, all committee members.
Yeah, I think that, I don't mean to sound punitive in any way, shape, or form, but I think it should be mandatory that everybody who is on this task force is very familiar with the 300 pages contained in the resolution. There's no way to move forward if people are not aware of all of the thousands of human hours that went into compiling that. We can't reinvent the wheel. So I think that should be, I'm making a motion that is mandatory, that people read the 300 pages.
I
I'll
second it.
that.
Any objections?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion is passed. Reading is, or rereading is mandatory, and that's as to both the CNA and the other, which.
The
Collaborative.
The
collaborative.
collaborative, and it's all contained in the resolution. The resolution has everything. I will send that link to Allison, and Allison will distribute it to the entire task force, as she said she would. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you both. Thank you, Marina and Allison. And also to everyone, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. But thank you all.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Oh, you don't have, take care, everyone. I will see
Thank
you at
you.
the next meeting.
One last thing I would like to ask, since I haven't checked, I mean, I've been here, I'm not checking in. What is the Zoom, or how do you check into this?
The Zoom?
Or whatever that is.
Well, they send an email link. I don't know if you got that
No,
or
that's what I
an
mean.
invite. Yeah, usually it's on that. It's usually in blue, I believe, that if you want to check, get in remotely on your computer and or your phone, you pull that up and you hit that link, and then it will put you into the meeting, and then
Yeah,
Seth
that's
will
the
allow it.
link I would like. Do you have it?
I actually don't have the Zoom link. Who gets that? Who
Well,
sets
the
that up?
people on the
Seth, yeah.
screen
Seth
have
sets it up? All right, so I'll make sure I get it from Seth and I'll
I think
send it out.
everybody,
with the
it's
agenda.
different for every meeting. It's
Yeah.
different for every meeting, and he should, again,
Oh.
getting that master email list together, making sure that people's notifications aren't going into their spam or junk, get that ironed out so everybody is getting the proper, meeting times and links.
Mhm.
Okay, while we're here, let's think about the,
Well, I actually had another motion, not another motion. I had an item on the agenda. I know, Chief, you had talked about this, and I'm not gonna mandate it or anything like that, but I really think I would encourage task force members to sign up for a ride along. I think it would really give some perspective that we don't have as civilians as to what the line officers are doing on a daily basis,
Oh, yes.
and give me some recommendations of what's because I'm sure every shift looks different too, depending on the time of day.
It certainly does, and we'll accommodate anybody that wants to come out and do it. And I would highly recommend, even if it's something where you want to come ride with me. I mean, I'll go out on the road with you. We can talk about this. We can go to calls. We can do traffic stops. I'm willing to accommodate anyone in this committee or any member of the town Niskuna for that matter, because I think it's very important that our community members and our task force members get that firsthand experience.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that on the record. I think I would encourage everyone, if you have the time, to, do a ride along. I think that you obviously are very open to that. And I think it would give us a good perspective of just what the job looks like.
this is restricted to the committee, I assume.
For what we're talking about right now, yes, but Judge, we open our doors to anybody that wants to come do a ride along. We do them with citizens all the time. So
Sure.
it's really open to anybody. And I can't thank you enough, Allison, for bringing it up. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Great idea.
Yeah. We have any further business to be brought before the meeting? Let's talk about the date for the December meeting. We said Monday or Tuesday.
I think we're going to stick with Mondays is what I
Okay.
what I have. So
And would it be
Yeah.
the first or second Monday to keep away from the holidays?
I would prefer the second. Just give us a little bit of time to get this stuff together and make time to meet with the chief before we meet again, so it's productive.
What's the date?
That's December
the 8th.
13th.
Oh.
Do you want the,
13th,
in
yeah.
The
December?
13th. Does
13th.
that work?
That's the second Monday.
Okay.
December 13th. And you want to make it, people are talking about 8.
8 a.m.
8 is fine.
8 or 8:15 is all right with me, 8 a.m.,
Okay.
December 13th.
Okay. And I don't think we talked about this at the beginning of the meeting. We wanted to do privilege of the floor because we have 2 community members that wanted to speak. So, Ellen, over on Zoom, do you want to I'm going to give you privilege of the floor so you can speak.
Thank you. So I had just met with Supervisor Syed earlier, or maybe last week, And really, I appreciate the work that you're doing. I was on the collaborative, and I really want to make sure that all the man hours that were put into it and the are read. So I'm grateful for everyone reading it and then breaking it down. It is a huge undertaking. I guess what I just wanted to make sure is that I see, that we have a budget and we have, a number of police officers that we are hiring. And I'm just concerned that, that some of the, one of the, thresholds that we were looking for was to diversify, and that by the time the collaborative makes their suggestions, that it will be, the point will be mute, because we will have already, established, our force. So I just want to, these are some of my, some of my fears that that are going forward, is that the issues that were most important to, people, which was for the police, force to emulate the community and those that they serve to, I had made, some suggestions. I know that the budget is very tight, and that was part of the, speaking back with, Chief Wall, and why, we, having trouble getting even, people to, hire people for just, some positions when they were open. And I know that the budget is a huge issue. So I had also, recommended or asked if it was possible, for what they call, I know we have, retired police officers that come back and work, but that also that there are other municipalities throughout the country that use people who work in the police force, but are not, but do not carry weapons and do not necessarily have all of the training, but they do relieve our police officers to be able to do other things that that they sometimes get bogged down in. So I just wanted to make sure, or put forth my voice about that, I guess.
Ellen,
That's really
thank you
all.
for bringing those comments to the floor. The chief and I have had these discussions about the issues you're speaking about, diversity, and that in our force. And we have done some things to relieve some of our officers from some duties that they used to do. We've got clerks now that are down at our window, where it used to be that we were pulling officers off the street to do those sort of things. So we have done some of those things. And speaking to the diversity issue, Chief and I have had that discussion. It's right now, it is difficult to find officers. So we are trying our best to get some officers in our department. And you're right. It's unfortunate at this time we don't have the opportunity, if you will, to say, oh, we're going to wait because we want to have someone of a different, background. We're looking at candidates that we have and saying if they are a good candidate, we're taking them because of the staffing levels that we're at this point. But your point is well taken, that is something that we do discuss and we are thinking about.
And Ellen, just to touch on that. So some of the things I've already done, I reached out to SEC to attempt to get into their career fair days and have a booth set up, things that we've never done before. I'm also going to reach out to HVCC to do the same. I wholeheartedly agree and support that we need to be a diverse police department and be very well represented of our community and beyond. And I think that those are seeds that we're going to attempt to plant here moving forward the best we can. But just to echo Councilman Partland's comments, I spoke to a chief in the county a week ago, and let's just say that the round number was 2 years ago, 400 applicants took the civil service test. This last civil service test, is my understanding, that it was around 70 people for Schenectady County. So the candidate pool in general is shrinking. And that's something that nationwide, I think, people are finding. And it's something that we need to look at as a community on how we can encourage, our folks and our students and our community members and people we know that would be a good fit for our community, and be supportive of them to become police officers, to make those differences. So, and I'm open to any and all suggestions. If anybody has any suggestions on how we can do, better recruiting, more diverse recruiting, those are things that I am all ears, because it's a very challenging thing we're going to face here moving forward.
Could you just, for the record, because I've heard different numbers going up and down, what, according to population, is the amount of the police officers that's sort of standard for our community, and how many do we have now?
So that's a difficult question to answer. There was a study done in 2008. DCGS conducted a study, I think at the town's behest, and there was a recommendation at that time that I believe it was 31 total officers in 2008. Don't quote me on that. I can get the study if people want to look at it. It's something we were going to do, a more updated version of the study, and then COVID hit. So I couldn't tell you exact numbers versus population, call volume, things of that nature, where we should be staffed according to people that run these statistical analysis studies. Currently, we have 26 members. For the anticipated budget of 2022, we are going to be funded, if it gets passed, at 30. So we would have 4 open positions.
So I just also want to make sure that when we're doing our staffing and we're doing what is standard out in the community, that we are looking at the data. So and the data meaning the calls that we're making, the calls that we're being called out on, and then what the and what is warranted from those calls. So I'll leave it at that. I know that I want us to follow the data. I don't necessarily think that we need a standard number of police officers per a number of people. But I will, I'll acquiesce to, making sure that, we're well within our budget requirements, and that, that we can fulfill those needs. But I really, really want to follow the data.
Yeah, that staffing study. Sorry, Marina, can I just say something real quick before you speak? That study that DCGS does, that incorporates that data. That is a data-driven study with an analysis. That's why they do that. It's not just census population versus number of police officers, not just those 2 numbers.
Yeah, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Let me ask you another question. It may seem silly, but I have a new neighbor right next door. Tall, good-looking black guy, just retired from Albany Police. He was at the governor's mansion guiding Cuomo. In other words, he's a cool young man. And, is that the kind of thing? I don't know that he'd want to come out of retirement, but he's not some decrepit old person. Would you want me to could I set up an appointment with you to talk?
Certainly. I would gather, though, that if he retired, the way the pension system works, most officers, when they retire, they're collecting their pension, and our positions would not be waiver positions for them to be able to work full-time here while collecting their pension. But I would love to meet him anyways, because I'm all about connecting and networking. So I would love to speak with him if you could set up.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can even start an auxiliary. Well, not that you'd want to, but you have you almost had it with the people in the office there, the retired officers coming in and doing stuff like that. All right. Is there anything else we need to discuss today?
I think we have John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Marina, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Ellen a question. Ellen, pardon my ignorance, and I'm so grateful that you're here today. Could you please define data-driven? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what that means.
Sure. I'm sorry. I have to leave very shortly because I have to go to work. But so just our own police officers did data on just the number of calls they made and where their calls were, what they did for each call, and then and I want to follow a lot of that, So, where they were spending their time on each of their calls. So I want to just make sure that that is taken into consideration.
Thank you.
And I don't, and I know that we have, a lot of that is, mental health. And I know now that we are, working with, I think it's,
Northern Rivers.
Northern Rivers, so I know that that is, very, very helpful. And I'm grateful that that outreach has, is hopefully being connected. So, all right, I apologize. I do need to leave to go
Thanks
to
for
work,
being here,
so
Ellen. We appreciate it.
thank you.
Anything further?
I think that, John, would you like to speak?
Hello, everyone. My name is John Lemelin. I live at Glen Meadow Court. I just want to congratulate you all on this, what I would consider this very, very important work. I've been on the Task Force for Racial Equity and Justice for a year and a half. I'm the co-chair of the Public Safety Working Group, which is a part of that task force that focuses on helping Niskayuna Police and the courts in Niskayuna look at their operations and procedures and policies. So I want to congratulate everyone on this effort. It's very, very important, very, very important to me. If there's anything that I can do, I've been working on this with the police and PBA for the last 18 months. I'd be happy to jump in. I think the conversation today was very important. And I do think that there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of reports. There's a lot of acronyms. There's a lot of terminology. Sometimes it's used consistently and sometimes it's not. So if I can help maybe just put together even a one-page diagram about all the different groups of people and all the different documents they produced and all the different relationships with some of these things, that might help the group a bit. I've read all these documents. I've helped. I was on the collaborative group, so I actually helped write some of the recommendations, and I can certainly be a help to you all. And I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
If I can just speak real quick, I was on a meeting with John and his group last night, and they're fantastic people. I actually John suggested to me the same thing last night about putting a visual document together, and I am a visual person. And I said, John, if you're willing to do that, I would love that, because there are a lot of moving pieces to this. And I think there are a lot of acronyms, there's a lot of documents, there's a lot of players involved. And I think having that kind of organizational chart, if you will, to kind of diagram those things out would be beneficial. And I don't know if our group would want to use that as well, but
Yeah.
I said to John last night, I would love it if you put something like that together for me personally, because that would just make it so much easier for me to understand all the players involved and all the partnerships involved.
As someone that's going to try to disseminate all these documents and condense it into a way that's digestible, I would love for you to do that. Should we make a motion for John to do that?
Yes.
All right, so a motion to make that John Lemon will create a one-page org diagram chart for this group and to better understand the supporting documents that we need to move forward.
I'll second
I
that.
second.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Marina.
That's okay.
I
We're all
jumped the gun.
seconding.
I jumped it.
All those in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to adjourn. Unless there's any other business.
Motion
I
to
would
adjourn.
sorry. I would just like to say that I'm very heartened by the direction that this meeting has taken. And I feel very, very encouraged that we can work together collaboratively and make Niskayuna is as good as a much better place. Not that it isn't great to begin with, but that we can really fulfill our mission.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know why I think I got down.